Eamon Khan here for Seconds Out, joined by ready to make her MMA and PFL debut 8th of June, Savannah Marshall. Savannah, how's life?
Life's good. Nearing the end of the week, so I'm tired.
You had your coffees?
Yeah, yeah, I've had two already. I'm gonna have the third one in a bit.
Too, and you've got a fight lined up very soon against Marilla Vargas. When it came to the opponent there, with a lot of fighters, sometimes when
No.
they're making their debut, they look to seek to maybe find the right opponent. Knowing you in your past, you've always been welcome to take on anyone. Was there much of a short list for you in for your opponent for this fight?
Yeah, the PFL sent me over a list of opponents, and it was a case of just going through, but being smart. I'm under no illusion. Look, I've did this for 8 months, and I'm not going to go up against someone who's a purple brown belt and BJJ, that sort of thing. Um, yeah, so it was about being smart about who I pick, especially the first one. You know, I don't, like it's all new, flounced gloves, being kicked without shin guards. So it's kind of a bit like being a novice again in amateur boxing. It's your first amateur fighting, and it's match with care.
It's interesting because you no doubt you deserve that spotlight and you're thrust into the main event here, but would you have preferred to not be so it doesn't bring that pressure with it being your first fight?
Yeah, 100%. When I first mentioned, I said, "Oh, I think Ngannou might have been fighting Saudi at one point," and I said, "Oh, I don't mind going on there, going abroad, less pressure." And then they come back and said, "Oh, we want you to headline at Newcastle." And I thought, if you're going to do it, you may as well go big. May as well just jump in.
So in terms of the training, then you've jumped into that over the last 8 months. With your accomplishment, sorry, in boxing, how much of the boxing stance have you retained or had to drop to transition over into the MMA style?
I've had to change everything.
Mm.
I was your typical, well, not typical, but lean right on the back foot, very side on, slipping shots, that type of thing, hands round my waist. Whereas all that has had to go out the window. Hands I've had to come up because I'm defending kicks that I can't see. I've had to come quite square on to defend takedowns. Front legs had to come right out to defend calf kicks, that sort of thing. So it's been like a whole new me.
How long did it take to really kind of get that all, down?
I'm still transitioned.
Hmm.
I think it's instinct. I've boxed a long, long time. So to go from what benefits me, what works for me, to hang on, I can't be that side on anymore because I'm just going to get taken down. I'm going to be off balance. So it's been 8 months I've been doing it now, and it's been a tough 8 months. Been humbling, very humbling to go from world class elite, top of the game, best in the world, to a novice, a novice who's doing beginner classes. It's been very humbling.
Have you retained the power in your punches?
Yes, I have. I have, but like I said, I'm not as much side on. So it's about doing what works for me, type thing. I'm aware that, if I where I need to be to defend a takedown, where I need to be to get power in my backhand, that sort of thing. So that's what I've found the hardest out of it all, out of the grappling, out the kicking, out the wrestling, out the BJJ. Transitioning from boxing is what I've found the hardest.
That's interesting because I imagine that someone coming into this from a boxing world, an accomplished boxing world like yourself, might have found like the grappling quite hard to get a grips with, pardon the pun, but you feel that you've been able to master that more than, chiseling down some of the boxing side of things.
I wouldn't say master it, but it's new, it's refreshing. I'm being taught something new, whereas in boxing it's a bit that being big-headed. What can you really teach me? You've got your jab, your backhand, your hook, your uppercut, that sort of thing. Whereas in this, it's there's a catalogue worth of moves, like you can't do this because you get doing this. This only works in this position, which you can probably say does work in boxing, but because I've boxed for so long, I can go in the boxing gym and do 6, 7 rounds on the bag and not even think about what I'm doing. I'm thinking about what I'm doing at the weekend.
Mm.
Whereas in this, I just can't switch off, which is something that I think I've been subconsciously crying out for. So it's come at the right time for me.
Have you got a bit of a signature or favorite move yet when it comes to grappling?
Um. Oh, I don't know because, like I said, it's so humbling. Some days it'll come off, and then I'll try to do it again, and no, I'm just getting armbarred. I'm just getting choked out.
Hmm.
I'm getting flung on my back type thing. So I don't. No, I haven't. I haven't got a special.
You've got to also contend with moving over from the 2 minute rounds to the 5 minute rounds. How has it been transitioning to that side of things?
Obviously, I've got like an inbuilt clock for 2 minutes in me. So even when I'm sparring, when I'm rolling, I know when that 2 minutes is gone. It's like instinctively. But like I said, because I can't switch off, because I can't let my mind wander, it's it goes quite quick. Like I said, because I'm not thinking, oh, I'm in this position or whatever. I cannot switch off, which is a good thing. And it's 3 minute rounds. Sorry, it's 3 rounds.
Mhm.
It's 15 minutes. Where in boxing I do 20. So really, I'm off shaving off 5.
When you've been, changing up and transitioning over the style, when you go back to Peter and train with him, what does he say?
So I train with Peter once a week. I go and I still do boxing pads with Peter, and it's hard.
Mm.
It's really hard. Um, but look, I'm aware. I know what I'm doing. And it's about getting something out of it that I want to get out of it.
Yeah.
I know I'm not boxing. I know I'm not fighting a boxer. So what would come off in a boxing ring won't come off in the cage. And I think once you're aware of that and you're smart, look, I'm experienced now. I know I'm experienced in boxing, but even from a training perspective, I know that it's not just about going in there and beating yourself and doing loads and loads of rounds. It's not about that. It's been about smart, and if you can get one thing out of that session, you're winning really.
Small little shot in the dark for me, Savannah. I've heard of another boxer. Let's say she's won at least one world title over in the UK. Is looking to make the move over into MMA. I wonder if anyone's picked up the phone to you and asked you for any advice at all.
Say that again. Who?
I said, I won't say the name, but I've heard the rumor that another boxer in the UK who's won world titles is looking to maybe make the move over to MMA. I wonder if anyone's picked up the phone to you and had a conversation with you at all about any advice.
No, no, I don't know. I don't know who that is.
No worries. I'll keep that tight-lipped for now. Going back to yourself, though, what's not tight-lipped is you and your rivalry with Claressa Shields. I watched back before this interview her fight with Kelsey DeSantis, and she survived a nasty armbar in
Oh
the
yeah.
first round. It was. I just wonder first of all, what did you think of that fight? And also putting yourself in those shoes when you're a boxer, you've got to keep those arms, unhurt, undamaged. Do you worry about that side of things as well when it comes to the consequences of the
Mm.
fights if you're looking to go back to boxing too?
Not so much the arms, but what really goes through me is the kicking. It's the shin on shin,
Hmm.
the knee on shin. Like that just goes right through me. Just the thought of like, oh,
Hmm.
um. But I suppose then you've got it with boxing where it's elbow and head and head. But just it's just something about the shin bone and the
Hmm.
knee joint that just goes through me. But yeah, Clarissa's fight. I'd seen Clarissa months prior in New York, and she'd kind of said like little things about MMA and the different training, and then I'd obviously went away and done it, and then I'd seen her in Saudi for our last fight, and then she started talking to me about it, and I was like, look, Clarissa, I get it, I understand it. I'm doing the training now, and I can understand like where you're struggling and what what works for you and what doesn't as a boxer. So I get it. And I think the thing is with Clarissa, I think that she's been top of her game for so long, and no one's ever come close to beating her. So she's never ever had to change. She's never had to adjust her style or anything like that. Fair enough, she made small changes for game plans, that sort of thing, but predominantly her style hasn't really changed. And I think with this MMA, I think you can't box how you would box a boxer
Hmm.
because I think it just doesn't work. And you can see that with the girl who she's fighting, the girls who she's fighting, they're taking a shot. Probably because she's never really been a big puncher anyway, but in MMA it takes a lot more than striking to win a round.
Have you heard the latest? She's also doing music as well. I don't know if you heard the latest track. There was a bar that was related to you. At least I think that's what the kids call it, a bar. I don't know if you managed to put that in the headphones
I did,
recently.
yeah. It's my ringtone. I was gonna do one back, but I've had to put my music career on hold due to this fight.
So you're not coming out to that on your debut.
No, sadly not. I think she's gonna be there though. Might ask her to walk me out and get her to put a nice fairy jacket on, big JLo vibe.
It's a bit annoying though that she's had a loss in the MMA world because you would have looked to be the woman to, you come in as undefeated and you be, from your perspective, the woman to take that O from her.
Uh, no, look, that was a long, long time ago. I was quite impressed that I held that title for that long.
Mm.
Um, but MMA is just totally different. It's totally, totally different. There was an MMA guy that come up to me quite recently and just shook my hand and went, "Look, fair play, because you get a lot of MMA fighters going to boxing, but you never get boxers coming to MMA, and I can see why,
Mm.
because it's totally different. I think boxing's a lot more skilled. It's like a chess match, whereas I think MMA is just purely getting in there and having a fight.
Will you box this year?
Hopefully, I was supposed to box in March.
Mm.
That never happened, and thankfully the PFL were there to say, "Look, we'll give you a fight." So really, I'm staying active. I might not be active in the boxing ring, but still, I'm in camp. I'm getting my weight down. There's emotions of a camp, emotions of fight week, that sort of thing. Um, I'd like to box again this year, but I think at the minute it's just about just seeing what happens during the year.
Couple final things for myself. I'll let you go, Savannah. I want to get your take on Taylor Serrano too. That sign now, the rematch. Who you swinging the favor towards?
I think, look, I think Katie's far past her best. I really, really do, and I think Serrano's an easier fight than Chantel. I think Chantel would have beat uh, Katie the third time. I think she nicked it the second time, but obviously she didn't get the decision. Brian Peters, Katie's manager, is a really, really smart man, and I can see why they've went with Amanda. It's a massive fight. It's huge. Look at the card they're on already. They're set to make a lot of money, and it's super light. Which again, Serrano's jumping up again. Like I said, I think Katie's far past her best, but I still think she beats Amanda. I think she's too big for Amanda. I really do.
Bring this back to yourself. Your rival, Claressa Shields, said she wants 2 or 3 years before she kind of looks to try and go for the PFL title. Have you put a sort of time frame onto as to when you want to be near the top or to know whether you can succeed in this field?
Look, the whole reason why I decided to do this was to fight Clarissa in the cage.
Hmm.
Really, I've got no ambition of entering the league or anything like that. If it happens, it happens. But
Hmm.
look, I can get in there. I'm under no illusion. I can get in there the journey gate and be absolutely terrible. So I might think, Jesus, even getting hit with a foul and scrub, I might think, God, that's not for me. Sorry, thank you for the opportunity, but look, you never know what's going to happen. And my goal, the whole reason why I signed was to fight Clarissa in the cage. But it's sport. I know factors change, things change. So look, come June the 9th, I could be, yeah, get me in that league. I'm ready to face the best. I want that PFL belt. But then on the other hand, it could be like, look, MMA is not for me.
Hmm.
So we'll just have to wait and see.
Savannah, the pleasure's all mine. Wishing you all the success in your MMA debut. I'll leave the final word with you. What happens when you step into the cage for the first time?
Oh wow, whole new chapter for me. Whole new chapter. Even down to walking to the cage in flip flops and getting in with bare feet. Like someone who's worn boots all their life. Do you know how nobody's business, but my feet are an absolute mess. My feet are a mess, and it's something that it's just so new. All these experiences, even wearing the MMA gloves, been having problems with my wrists because there's no support in them. All these things you never think of. Like carpet burns on my elbows off the canvas. So yeah, new chapter.
Sounds like you're ready and excited for it. Can't wait to see it. Much appreciated.